This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. JCTU wants a further dialogue with the government on vaccination mandate. The Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions has said it is still not convinced that the country is at the stage for COVID-19 vaccination mandates. JCTU President Helen Davis White on Tuesday told the news that the government's public education campaign is not sufficiently far-reaching in the opinion of her organization. The Confederation is awaiting a response to a request for a meeting with the government following Prime Minister Andrew Holness's announcement that a COVID-19 vaccination policy is to be implemented for public sector workers. Mrs. Davis-White said there are Jamaicans genuinely concerned about the effects of the vaccine. She is also urging private sector employers who have announced a vaccine or tester policy to ensure that they have sufficient dialogue with staff members in order to be on firm ground. She contends that public health authorities should determine whether a vaccine mandate should be in effect. MAJ concerned about COVID-19 in children. The Medical Association of Jamaica is worried that the number of children hospitalized with COVID-19 will increase as the country grapples with a fourth wave of the virus. A 1-year-old child from Manchester was among 8 COVID-19 related deaths in Jamaica on Saturday. The Bustamante Hospital for Children had 23 pediatric cases of the coronavirus. MAJ President Dr. Brian James is worried that children could be severely affected by the Omicron variant. He said children who contract the virus face the risk of developing multi-symptom inflammatory conditions which can cause severe illness.
There has been no time in this pandemic where we've had more children admitted to hospital than at present. Every hospital is now showing numbers for children that are much higher than at any other time. It may very well be just because the numbers overall in the country are so high that even the same percentage of children will end up causing us to exceed our previous numbers. So it has to be looked at very carefully. And this is tied to what we were saying about limiting the face-to-face interactions for now until the wave has, subsided or shown signs of subsiding. We have seen a number of them in Jamaica in the previous wave. I'm not aware of any that we are seeing now, but this is on one side of the curve. We're worried about the possibility of this happening to a higher degree. There's also the possibility of so-called long COVID, which can occur even in persons who are asymptomatic. They get COVID asymptomatic, and down the road they develop chronic illnesses that are associated with COVID, with involvement of the major organs of the body, and we do not have a very, very good handle on how bad that can be in children, and we don't really want to put it to the test.
Body of woman found in Westmoreland. The body of a woman was found by residents in Bastard Cedar Walk in the Petersfield section of Westmoreland early Tuesday morning. It is said that her body had several chop wounds. The woman is believed to be in her early 30s. The body has not yet been identified. Men accused of $2 million corned beef theft arrested and charged. The 4 men accused of stealing 3 pallets of corned beef worth $2 million have now each been charged with a simple larceny and a conspiracy to commit simple larceny. The products were stolen from a warehouse on Salt Pond Road in Spanish Town, St. Catherine on Wednesday, January 5. The accused thieves are Richard Jarrett, 26, receivables clerk, Taj J. Russell, 21, loss prevention officer, Tordell Henry, 30, loss prevention officer of Westchester, Portmore, St. Catherine, and Jermaine Johnson, 32, security officer of Angels Grove, Spanish Town, St. Catherine. They are to appear before the St. Catherine Parish Court on Wednesday, February 23. Holness urged to change course on pandemic. Prime Minister Andrew Holness is facing further criticism for his handling of the current COVID-19 wave. Mr. Holness has made it clear that he's not prepared to impose further measures to slow infections, declaring that it's now up to Jamaicans to take personal responsibility to protect themselves, citing the available vaccines as a prime example. But a community organizer at advocacy group We Change Jamaica, Christina Monteith, has interpreted Mr. Holness's stance as a signal that he has given up.
Even if argument done on his side, argument not done on the pandemic side, the virus does not care if you are tired. It doesn't care if you are frustrated. It will continue to rage. I want to see a prime minister who will stay with us until the very end, because this does not bode well for the challenges of the next 50 years, depending on where the world is going. We have so much to be concerned about that I need the Prime Minister to be like, I will not stop. I will figure this out. I will try to the very end. And that's not what I'm getting from Prime Minister Andrew Holness right now.
Dr. Caroline Gomes, a board member and a developing country NGO delegation to the Global Fund Board, does not believe the strategy to get Jamaicans vaccinated has worked, and the cost of it is a real cost on people's lives.
That strategy hasn't worked, and the cost of it is real cost on people's lives, on people's businesses, on everything, on the country's economic growth. You are the Prime Minister. If a strategy you're trying is not working, and I'm not saying we have to go to lockdown, but you have to come forward with some kind of plan. Other than being belligerent and boisterous and telling people to get the vaccine, it's not working. And you're not putting a mandate to say that people must get the vaccine so that you can go back to it. You're just throwing up your hands and said, I can't manage. That's essentially what that is. And people will die, the thing will spread like virus, and people will be sick at work. And that's not enough.
New Legal and Constitutional Affairs Minister to speak in the House. When the House of Representatives meets Tuesday afternoon, the newly appointed Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Malahoo Fort, is expected to make her first ministerial statement in that capacity. The former Attorney General is expected to outline the role of her ministry in the Prime Minister Andrew Holness's new cabinet, with Holness announcing at last November's annual conference of the Jamaica Labour Party that major constitutional reform will be undertaken this year. Political watchers and the pundits anticipate that Malahoo Fort will lead that charge. Jamaica is also getting ready to mark 60 years of independence from Britain in August. Issues that she will likely deal with include the removal of the Queen as Jamaica's head of state, republic status for Jamaica, and whether the Caribbean Court of Justice will become Jamaica's final appellate court. Such matters will have to be decided by a referendum. Additionally, Malahoo Fort will be expected to push for an overhaul of the Emergency Powers Act, which would allow for a sitting government to implement states of emergency with just a simple majority vote in both houses of the parliament. The administration's latest attempt at imposing SOEs to tackle the escalating crime problem, in particular murders, was derailed as it failed to get a two-thirds majority vote in the Senate last November. One opposition senator must support the motion for it to succeed, with the government having 13 appointed senators to the opposition's 8. The House will also take the report of the Joint Select Committee appointed to consider the motion for a proposal for the city municipality of Portmore to become the 15th parish. Additionally, the House will receive the report of the Joint Select Committee appointed to review the Law Reform Act 2017. Early childhood institutions being urged to meet national standards. There is a renewed focus on the need for early childhood institutions to become compliant with the standards set by the Early Childhood Commission. David Salmon, chairman of the Certification and Regulations Committee at the Commission, believes that this would have a major impact on the system if achieved. Mr. Salmon's recommendation comes against the background of the recently released Reform of Education in Jamaica 2021 report. Among other things, the report concluded that the sector is significantly under-resourced and that it needs reprioritization. Mr. Salmon, speaking on Monday with the News, revealed that more than half of Jamaica's early childhood schools are not meeting the standards set by the Commission, and this for him is a major problem.
Well, what is certainly important in all of this is ensuring that our schools are meeting standards, the 12 standards set by the Early Child Commission. The report may not have highlighted it, but what is really concerning is that more than half of early childhood institutions across Jamaica do not meet half of the standards, which means that our children are not receiving the optimal education that they deserve. So what is the most important thing is to ensure that more schools are certified beyond the 10%, and also ensure that more schools that meet the minimum threshold to operate. And once we achieve that, then we can see improvements in the long run.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.